Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Manahil Remorge of Bali and I'm from Karachi, Pakistan. Today we are honored to have a very special guest with us, someone whose story is as inspiring as it's unique. She hails from the frost-kissed landscape of Russia, but now calls the sunny city of Oakland, California, her home. A student whose endeavors and creativity have already started to shape the world around her. So, Ma'am Anna has shown as that age is merely a number when it comes to making significant impact, from campaigning environmental campaigns to weaving intricate jewelry. Her journey is a testament to the power of patience and perseverance. So, without further ado, let's welcome Ma'am Anna and delve into her life journey, her inspirations, and her aspirations. So, Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So now, first of all, please introduce yourself for my viewers.
My name is Anna Ovchinnikova. I currently live in Oakland, California. I was originally born in Russia. I go to Park Day School here, and I really enjoy making jewelry in my free time.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your introduction. So now let's move on to questions. My first question is on your screen. Can you tell us about your journey from Russia to Oakland, California, and how this transition has influenced your education and interest?
I was I came to America at a very young age, um, but I still speak the language, and I still feel connected to my culture, and this influenced my education because I really needed a school where I could fit in more easily and I could be easily accepted by a very new culture. This influenced my interests as well because I had more of um, I had a bigger perspective and I could have um, had more different sides to see interests from.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your introduction. So now let's move on to next question. My next question is on your screen. What inspired you and your third grade class to competition for the Black Crowned Night Heron to become Auckland's official bird, and how did you persevere through our 3 years effort?
Originally, the school came up with the idea of having a campaign to make the national bird of Oakland, but I think that the original kids in the third grade class were chose that it was the Black Crowned Night Heron based on the fact that it had the biggest rookeries in Oakland, which means that it lives the most in Oakland than in any other part of the world. And we were very inspired to continue the effort, and we persevered through a lot of challenges. And so we went to City Hall and we um, had speeches that we wrote out to say to City Hall, to the mayor, and to the board to get the bird to be the black rhino heron to be the national bird of to be the bird of Oakland. And so we were the last year to do so because we finally achieved it in the year that I was in third grade.
All right, great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So, my next question is could you describe the process of creating a detailed model of local theater and what you learned from the experiences?
To create we were in science this year, we were tasked with creating a 3D model of a local building with partners. So me and my partner decided to do our local theater, which is called the Oakland Fox Theater, which is right next door to me, and I see it every day. And it's a very detailed buildings, and it's iconic to Oakland. So I decided to do it because it's a very important building, and it seemed like a very interesting challenge. We first did a 3D model in a um, website called Tinkercad. And then we exported those files into a Glowforge, and then we cut it out with a laser onto cardboard and glued it together with hot glue. This helped me learn more important skills that I can hopefully use later with my jewelry or in my future life. And it was also very interesting to look at a building and then take it apart into its um, different levels because it really makes you think more about how architecture is constructed around you. Because before I never really thought about how difficult it is to really make models and how to make buildings.
All right, great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. My next question is, how did you get started with making jewelry, and what do you enjoy most about this hobby?
I got started with making jewelry because I've always enjoyed how it looked. I think the aesthetic of wearing jewelry is very interesting, and I liked how it can go into these very different genres of style. And I got started with jewelry, I think a couple of years ago, and I started small with making earrings, from making simple earrings to branching outwards to more complex designs. What I like most about the hobby is designing new pieces and thinking of how to include various details that I see around me into my jewelry and designs. And I also enjoy problem solving when something doesn't work out when I make these designs.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So, my next question is, can you explain the techniques you see in crafting your jewelry and how you we develop these skills over time?
The first designs that I've really were more complex and that I've started designing are elf ear cuffs that you put on your ears, and they are in the shape of elf ears. I I started to see online these pictures, and then I started copying them, and over time I realized like patterns and how they're made, and then I took those patterns and then I built upon them to make them my own in my own style. And then I now branch out to more different styles, and I um, begin to get a lot more creative with my techniques than I did before. For example, these ear these glasses chains are built from a chain, and then I make loops with I cut off wire, make a loop, put on a bead, and then put more loops, and then I attach that a lot of, along the wire, along the chain, which makes these designs. Um, and it lets me be a little creative, and it really helps me advance my composition of them because it takes a while to get all of the size and color coordinated so that it looks nicely when it's hanging down.
All right, that's great. By the way, your glasses is so beautiful. I like your glasses.
Thank
All
you.
right. So my next question is, how do your passion for reading and mythology influence your jewelry designs and your everyday life?
I really enjoy reading fantasy books, which really got me on the path for mythology because I find it fascinating on to see how for fantasy books it's creativity and how you can see worlds being built in people's minds. And I take that a lot and use it in my own jewelry because I include a lot of more fantastical and whimsical elements in my jewelry. Like, for example, the elf ears, and I strive to have my fashion be a little bit more um, strange than regular. And it really has influenced a lot of aspects of my life because it changes my view of thinking, and I keep making like references from the literary world to real life, um, which is interesting.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So my next question is, what are your future aspirations for selling your jewelry creations, and do you have any specific goals for your business?
I plan on selling my jewelry because I think it would be interesting on making custom orders to branch out onto other people's styles other than my own. And my goal for starting a business is to first work on efficiency of how quickly I make these designs, because currently I think they take too long to be able to be as quickly manufactured to be able to sell them more easily. So either they would be very expensive, which nobody would buy, or I would have to undersell the time it takes to make them. So first I would have to get um, quicker at making them, and then I plan on opening a shop on Etsy to sell my creations and maybe later open up to custom orders that I can make detailed pieces for people individually.
All right, ma'am. Great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answers. So my next question is, how does the mission of Park Day Schools to shape a more equitable and sustainable world resonate with your personal values and actions?
The Park Day mission is really focused on how you can personally change the world and how it is how to make a positive impact on the world with small actions. And Park Day really emphasizes that with things like service learning days, where as a class we go to specific places and help people. And also through every single time a guest comes through, we always have a round of appreciations after. This fits into my values because I find it important to also help people that or support causes that you think are very important to you. And Park Day really helps you um, emphasize that quality in yourself and focus on really making a change in the world.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So my next question is, as someone who is deeply passionate about fantasy books, can you share one of your favorite stories or myths and tell us why it stands out to you?
One of my favorite uh, myths is the myth of Pandora, which is how in from Greek mythology, which is about how the first woman came to be. And I find it very fascinating because it really tells you a lot about the culture back then and um, what their values were. Uh, the myth of Pandora is really shows that the Greeks found women to be more as objects, and also the fact that Pandora had a vase that released all of mankind's worst qualities, and it also ended their immortality because before Pandora came to be, all there were only men in the world, and they were always immortal, so they couldn't die.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for your answer. So, what advice would you give to others young students who wants to make a positive impact in their community, similar to your bird conversion initiative?
What I would recommend is to really find a group of students or even sometimes adults that really resonate with your idea. And then it's easier to work towards a goal if you have a group that really shares that same idea and energy. And then I would reach out to your local representatives, um, or like the main person in, for example, your city or town, and then try and, if you can, gather more and more people and get more people aware of the change that you're trying to make so you can grow a bigger and bigger force of people who are also support the change that you're doing and may help in changing the um, place and getting a positive impact on the world.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So, my next question is, what are some of your fondest childhood memories from Russia that you still cherish after moving to the USA?
I moved at such a young age that I don't really remember anything from Russia. But some memories that I do have is every year celebrating the New Year, where I go to my grandparents' house, which is still in California, but we really try and celebrate it using Russian traditions, and we, make the cultural dishes that are significant and really try and embrace what we have and have a very good New Year's.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for your answer. So, can you tell us about a book that has profoundly affected you and why it holds a special place in your heart?
One of the books that I hold very dear to my heart is a book called Mouse Hunter because I it was my favorite book for a very long time, and I found it in a little free library, which is a place where people leave their books for old used books that you can pick up for free and read them. It was in a very strange place that I found this book, and I've always cherished it because it was very whimsical and it really helped me um, gain a source of um, knowledge on how to build my own fantasy world and creatures, and how it can be very freeing to be able to make your own world and everything that revolves in it.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for your answer. So, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where you would you go, and what would you hope to experience there?
If I could travel anywhere in the world, I would say Iceland because I really enjoy the nature there. I think that it's very beautiful, and it's also um, you can go into these places that are very um, that are less touched by people, which I find would be very interesting to see how they look and research the ecosystems there to again help reach a broader sense on how nature works and how the ecosystems interact with each other, which could also help with the fantasy world, um, and help me gain a deeper connection with nature.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So, what are some small things that bring your joy in your everyday life?
Um, some things that bring me joy in my everyday life is um, tiny trinkets that I find. Um, I have a lot of tiny trinkets that either I make or I just generally find around. One of them is I beaded this very tiny mushroom out of red and white beads, which I kept in my pocket for quite some time in a little bottle, and it really helped me bring myself joy. Some other things is I always have a sketchbook and some pens in my pockets, which brings me joy because I can always draw anything that I want at any time because it's always on me. So if I find anything really beautiful, I can just always sketch it out really quickly and keep it with me.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answers. So, my next question is can you share an experience where you learned an important lesson outside of the classroom?
One lesson that I've learned outside of the classroom is um, how to really find yourself and your sense of style and really, find a good friend group because it's very important to find a group of people that you really can resonate with. And it's also important to find your style and be able to grow and evolve it um, into something that you keep enjoying. And I don't think you can really easily learn it within school. You have to really branch out and experience different things for yourself outside of it to really find what um, brings you the most joy, and then you can expand upon that and grow it into something unique to yourself.
All right, great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So, my other question is how do you stay motivated and positive when faced with difficult tasks and decisions?
Um, there are some times where I have lost motivation to continue my craft and things that bring me joy, and it's usually because of schoolwork. And when schoolwork gets really tough and a lot of it builds up, and then you have like a whole lot of big projects that you have to finish, you don't find time to do things that you enjoy, and you know, all that you are is focused on your schoolwork. So afterwards, after I finish all my big projects, I have to slowly cultivate that um, love of crafting back because I find myself sometimes a little blocked because my brain has a hard time switching back into a relaxed state after such a long time of being very focused on schoolwork. And in that time, I usually try and learn a new skill, which gets my love of learning to find something to do with my hands, and then it also helps get me back into really crafting, and I can get back to doing things like to bring me joy, like back into reading and making jewelry.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So, lastly, what message or thought you would like to share with other young people who may look up to you?
A message that I would give um, other people is don't be afraid to be yourself, and I would say don't have a fear to be labeled as strange or weird because I think you can always find at least some group or community that you can really find yourself within, and you can really be your true self and not really be scared of other people's um other people's view on you because you already found your niche that you can find yourself really comfortable with. So I would say if you haven't found it yet, keep searching and don't be afraid to branch out and try new things.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for your answer. So, as you draw this enlightening conversation to a close, I want to take a moment to reflect on the journey we traversed today with our distinguished guest, Ma'am Anna, from her roots in Russia to making tangible difference in Auckland community. Her story is a vibrant tapestry tree of dedication, creativity, and wisdom. And now your efforts to competition for the Black Crowned Night Heron, your artistic impression through jewelry and the passion for fantasy literature and mythology have not only uh, enriched your life but also serve as a beacon of inspiration for many. We incredible grateful for the time you we shared with us and the insight you we provided. It's heartening to see young minds like yours shaping a more equitable and sustainable world with such courage and compassion. To our audience, thank you for joining. It's your curiosity and engagement that make this conversation worthwhile. Let's carry the spirit of but we will learn it into our own communities and like unnatural make difference in our unique ways. So until next time, thank you so much ma'am for your time and thank you so much for patience.
Thank you so much for interviewing me.
Thank you, bye, have a wonderful day ahead.
You too.